Are you all hearing me? I think somebody may have to unmute themselves to answer me.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So I would start, others will join in as we go along. So for those who don't know me, I am Shireen Gilbayard. I am the founder of Destyne Fit and Being Powered. And today we will be talking about Alzheimer's disease. Uh, before we start, I'll tell you a little bit about Destyne. So the meaning behind the name Destyne Fit actually originated from the word destined. We are destined to be healthy and fit. Our clients learn how to change their lifestyle for a fit and a healthier version of themselves. And we help them through their journey to optimum fitness through our fitness challenges. And we do one-on-one coaching with them to help them to upgrade their lifestyle for a fit and healthier body and mind. This afternoon, our aim is to be knowledgeable of the impact of diet on Alzheimer's disease. We would be looking at Alzheimer's, the definition of Alzheimer's, to be able to state the risk factors of Alzheimer's, to identify the mechanics and contributing factors of Alzheimer's disease, to list the symptoms of Alzheimer's, and to be able to indicate the preventative methods of Alzheimer's, I think, which is very, very important. So, Alzheimer's disease is an irreversible progressive brain disorder that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills and eventually the ability to carry out the simplest of tasks. And for those of us who may have family or friends with Alzheimer's, we realize this. So the brain has 100 billion nerve cells, also called neurons. So each nerve cell connects with many others to form communication networks. So a group of nerve cells have special jobs, and some involve thinking, some involve learning and remembering. So others help us see, hear, and smell. But in order to do their work, brain cells operate like tiny factories. They receive supplies, they generate energy, they construct equipment, and they get rid of waste. Cells also process and store information and communicate with other cells. Keeping everything running requires coordination as well as large amounts of fuel and oxygen. So scientists believe that Alzheimer's disease prevents parts of a cell's factory from running well. They are not sure where the trouble starts, but just like a real factory, backups and breakdowns in one system cause problems in other areas. So as damage spread, cells loses the ability to do their jobs and they eventually die, causing irreversible changes in our brain. Alzheimer's disease is named after Dr. Alois Alzheimer. In 1906, Dr. Alzheimer noticed changes in the brain tissues of a woman who had died of an unusual mental illness. Her symptoms included memory loss, language problems, and unpredictable behaviors. After she died, he examined her brain and found many abnormal clumps, now called amyloid plaques, and tangled bundles of fiber, which is also called tangles. So these plaques and tangles in the brain are still considered some of the main features of Alzheimer's disease. Another feature is the loss of connections between the nerve cells in the brain. So the neurons transmit messages between different parts of the brain and from the brain to the muscle and organs in our body. Okay, so Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia, a general term for memory loss and other cognitive abilities serious enough to interfere with our daily lives. Alzheimer's disease accounts for 60 to 80% of dementia cases, and that's a lot. 60 to 80%. So scientists believe that for most people, Alzheimer's disease is caused by a combination of genetic, lifestyle, and environmental factors that affect the brain over time. Less than 1% of the time, Alzheimer's is caused by specific genetic changes that virtually guarantee a person will develop the disease. These rare occurrences usually result in the disease onset in middle age. The exact causes of Alzheimer's disease aren't fully understood though, but as its core problems with the brain proteins fall into function to function normally, it disrupts the work of the brain cells and it unleashes a series of toxic events. So these neurons are damaged, they lose connections to each other, and they eventually die. So the damage most often starts in the region of the brain that controls memory. But the process begins years before the symptoms. The loss of neurons spread in somewhat predictable pattern to other regions of the brain. And by the late stage of the disease, the brain has already shrunk significantly. So researchers have focused on the role of two proteins. And this is the two proteins that I want us to actually remember because this is what we'll be dealing with. So plaques, and we spoke about plaques before. Beta amyloid is a leftover fragment of a larger protein. When these fragments cluster together, they appear to have a toxic effect on the neurons and to disrupt cell-to-cell communication. These clusters form larger deposits called amyloid plaques, which also include other cellular debris. Tangles, on the other hand, play a part in the neuron's internal support and a transport system to carry the nutrients and other essential materials. So in Alzheimer's disease, these proteins change their shape and they organize themselves into structures which looks like tangles. So you would see in the photo the difference between the tangle and the plaque. Hence the reason why they are called tangles and plaque, because of how they look, right? So the tangles disrupt the transport system and they are also toxic to the cells. Just give me 1 minute. So some of the risk factors. Increasing age is the greatest known risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is not a part of normal aging, but as you grow older, the likelihood of developing Alzheimer's disease increases. So one study, for example, found that annually there were 2 new diagnoses per 1,000 people ages from 65 to 74 and 11 new diagnoses per 1,000 people from ages 75 to 84 and 37 new diagnoses per 1,000 people age 85 and over. So family history and genetics plays an important role also. Your risk of developing Alzheimer's is somewhat higher if a first degree relative, which is your parent or your sibling, has the disease. So most genetic mechanisms of Alzheimer's among families remain largely unexplained, and the genetic factors are likely complex. One better understood genetic factor is a form of gene, which is E gene, right? It's a variation of gene which increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease. But not everyone with this variation of the gene actually develops the disease. Scientists have identified rare changes or mutations in three of these genes. So these genes guarantee a person who inherits one of them that they will develop Alzheimer's. But these mutations account for less than 1% of the persons with Alzheimer's disease, which is interesting to note. So Down syndrome. Many people with Down syndrome develop Alzheimer's disease. This is likely related to having 3 copies of the chromosome 21 and subsequently 3 copies of the gene for the protein that leads to the creation of the beta amyloid protein. So signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's tends to appear 10 to 20 years earlier in people with Down syndrome than they do for the general population. Sex. There appears to be a little difference in the risk between men and women, but overall, interestingly, more women are diagnosed with the disease. And what they tend to say is because women live longer than men, right? Mild cognitive impairment. So mild cognitive impairment is a decline in memory or other thinking skills that is greater than what would be expected for a person's age. But the decline doesn't prevent a person from functioning in social or work environments. People who have mild cognitive impairment have a significant risk of developing dementia. When the primary mild cognitive impairment deficit is memory, so the condition is more likely to progress to dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. So a diagnosis of this enables a person to focus on healthy lifestyle changes, develop strategies to compensate for memory loss, and schedule regular doctor's appointments to actually monitor the signs and symptoms. Let me just get this chat off. Yes. So post head trauma can cause be a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. Poor sleep patterns. So research has shown that poor sleep patterns, such as difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, are associated with increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Lifestyle and heart health. Research has shown that the same risk factors associated with heart disease may also increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. And these include lack of exercise. This is lack of exercise, obesity, smoking or exposure to secondhand smoke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, poorly controlled type 2 diabetes. These factors can be modified. Therefore, changing your lifestyle habits can to some degree alter your risk. For example, regular exercise and a healthy low-fat diet, which include fruits and vegetables, are associated with a decreased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. So our diet is very, very important when it comes to Alzheimer's disease. Lifelong learning and social engagement. Studies have found an association between lifelong involvement in mentally and socially stimulating activities and a reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease. So low education levels, less than a high school education, appear to be a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. And this is the interesting part for me here, right? Studies have shown that while some foods boost memory, Others actually increases the risk for Alzheimer's disease. These same foods are linked to other serious health problems, making it much more important to limit or to remove them from our diet. So a healthy diet does more than benefit our waistlines. It improves our heart health, it lowers our risk for cancer, for other diseases such as diabetes, and it keeps our minds healthy. In fact, research has shown that a poor diet impacts memory and increases a person's chance of developing Alzheimer's disease. Why some foods induce memory loss? The brain needs its own brand of fuel. It requires healthy fats, it requires fruits, it requires vegetables, lean proteins, and adequate vitamins and minerals. Consuming too little of these foods and too many complex carbohydrates, processed foods, and sugar stimulates the production of toxins in our body. Those toxins can lead to inflammation and the buildup of plaques in the brain, and as a result, it impairs our cognitive function. So these effects apply to people of all ages and not just our seniors. So unfortunately, the foods that hamper our memory are common staple foods in most of our diets. White bread, pasta, processed meats, and cheese all have been linked to Alzheimer's disease. Some experts have even found that whole grain breads are just as bad as white bread because they spike blood sugar levels, which causes inflammation. White foods, including pasta, cakes, white sugar, white rice, and white bread. Consuming these causes a spike in insulin production and sends toxins to the brain. Microwave popcorn contains a chemical that may increase amyloid plaques in the brain. Research has linked a buildup of amyloid plaques to Alzheimer's, and beer. Most beers contain nitrates, which have been linked to Alzheimer's. So these are some of the foods that most of us have on a regular basis. And unfortunately, these foods are linked to Alzheimer's disease. Some other foods are processed cheese, mozzarella sticks, American cheese. These foods build up proteins in the body that have been associated with Alzheimer's. Processed meats such as bacon, smoked turkey from the deli counter, ham, smoked meats, all these contains nitrates which cause the liver to produce fats, and these fats are toxic to the brain. So all of these foods, a lot of these foods that we like, they are associated with Alzheimer's disease. So some of the symptoms. So memory loss is a key symptom of Alzheimer's disease. An early sign of the disease is usually difficulty remembering recent events or even conversations. As the disease progresses, memory impairments worsen and other symptoms develop. At first, a person with Alzheimer's disease may be aware of having difficulty with remembering things and organizing their thoughts. A family member or a friend may be more likely to notice how the symptoms worsen. Everyone has occasional memory lapse. It's normal to lose track of where you put your keys or forget the name of an acquaintance, but the memory loss associated with Alzheimer's persists and it worsens, and it affects the ability to function at home and also at work. People with Alzheimer's may repeat statements and questions over and over. They may forget conversations, they may forget appointments or even events and not remember them later. Routinely misplace possessions, often putting them in illogical locations. They get lost in familiar places. They eventually forget the names of family members and everyday objects. They have trouble finding the right words to identify objects. to express their thoughts or to actually take part in conversations. Changes in personality and behavior. Brain changes that occur in Alzheimer's disease can affect our mood and behavior. So, problems may include depression, social withdrawal, mood swings, distrust in others, irritability, aggressiveness, changes in sleeping habits, wandering, delusions such as believing something has been stolen. And I think that's a big one. You know, when they misplace something, it's always stolen. Alzheimer's disease can cause difficulty concentrating and thinking, especially about abstract concepts such as numbers. So multitasking is especially difficult and it may be challenging to manage finances. It may be challenging to balance up the checkbooks and to pay bills online or on time also. These difficulties may progress to an inability to recognize and deal with numbers. Making judgments and decisions. The ability to make reasonable decisions and judgment in everyday situations will also decline. For example, a person may make poor choices in social interactions or wear clothes that are inappropriate for the weather. It may be more difficult to respond effectively to everyday problems such as food burning on the stove or unexpected driving situations. Planning and performing familiar tasks. One routine activities that requires sequential steps such as planning and cooking a meal or even playing a favorite game becomes a struggle as the disease progresses. So eventually people with advanced Alzheimer's may forget how to perform basic tasks such as dressing and bathing. Preserve skills. Many important skills are preserved for longer periods even while symptoms worsen. So preserved skills may include reading or listening to books, telling stories or reminiscing, singing, they listen to music, dancing, drawing, or even doing crafts. So these skills, it may be preserved longer because they are controlled by parts of the brain affected later in the course of the disease. That's why you see a lot of people who have Alzheimer's, they love to reminisce. So memory loss is a key symptom of Alzheimer's disease. An early sign of the disease is usually difficulty remembering recent events or conversation, right? So at first, a person with Alzheimer's disease may be aware of having difficulty with remembering things and organizing their thoughts. A family member or friend may be more likely to observe these symptoms getting worse. So you have the personality traits. They're insecure, they're depressed, they have lack of empathy, they're clueless. Some of them are even paranoid. So motives, power and control. They want to be left alone, self-righteousness, this confidence. That's excuse spelling there. And some of them they want to be seen in the spotlight. So complications of dementia, Alzheimer's. So memory and language loss. Impaired judgment and other cognitive changes caused by Alzheimer's can complicate treatment for other health conditions. So a person with Alzheimer's disease may not be able to communicate that he or she is experiencing pain. They may not be able to report the symptoms of another illness. They may not be able to follow prescribed treatment plan or even report if there are side effects in medications. So as Alzheimer's disease progresses to its last stage, brain changes begin to affect physical functions such as swallowing, their balance, and their bowel and bladder control. So these effects can increase the vulnerability of the additional health problems, and these health problems can be aspiration, inhaling food or liquid into the lungs, So they may have pneumonia and other infections. They may have falls. They may have fractures. They may also have bed sores and malnutrition or dehydration. And these are the last stages of the Alzheimer's disease, right? So Alzheimer's disease is not a preventable condition. However, a number of lifestyle risk factors for Alzheimer's can be modified. Evidence suggests that changes in diet, in exercise, and habits, steps to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, may lower your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, and even other disorders that actually can cause dementia also. So heart healthy lifestyle choices may reduce the risk of Alzheimer's. And these can include exercising regularly. Eat, also eating your diet. Eat a diet with fresh produce, healthy oils, low in saturated fat. Follow treatment guidelines to manage your high blood pressure if you are hypertensive, if you are diabetic, and also for high cholesterol. If you smoke, then probably it's a good thing to start now to quit smoking. So studies have shown that preserved thinking skills later in life and have a reduced risk of Alzheimer's. So it is encouraged to participate in social events, to read, to do some dancing, playing board games, creating art, also playing instruments and other activities that requires mental and social engagement. So a lot of people they like to play the word crossy, which is a good thing. So you just need something to stimulate your brain, right? And that could actually cause us to reduce our risk of Alzheimer's, right? So foods that contain L-arginine. So the National Center for Biotechnology Information stated that L-arginine, which is an amino acid, may play a prominent role in age-related diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. So we have dark chocolate. They have high levels of arginine and they're also high in antioxidants. Chicken breasts, there's 9 grams of arginine. There's also vitamin B and protein in chicken breast. Pumpkin seeds, there's 7 grams of arginine per cup, and it also contains magnesium and plant protein and fibers. Lentils, there's 4 grams of arginine per cup, and this is a plant protein. We have seafood such as salmon and tuna. They help arteries to relax. Turkey breasts, 16 grams of arginine in the turkey breast. And turkey breast actually contains fat burning substances. Eggs is also high in arginine, but it is found in the yolk. It is high in protein, in vitamin D, K, and A. So these are some of the foods that we can get L-arginine from, right? And we'll talk a little bit about L-arginine. So before we actually move on to L-arginine, then for us to really understand L-arginine, we have to understand nitric oxide, right? So nitric oxide is found throughout our bodies. It is formed in the lining of our blood vessels, which is the endothelial cells, using the amino acid L-arginine. It helps communicate with each other by transmitting signals throughout our entire body. So in order for us to produce nitric oxide in our bodies, we need the amino acid L-arginine. How does nitric oxide work? So nitric oxide is a powerful vasodilator which plays a significant role affecting our blood circulation and oxygen production, right? So although the exact causes of Alzheimer's disease are still unknown, studies suggest that the genesis of Alzheimer's disease is associated now with Oxidative stress, we spoke about oxidative stress, I think about 2 weeks ago. And this is the imbalance between the free radicals and antioxidants in your body, inflammatory processes, and the brain glucose metabolism, right? So nitric oxide, it is a powerful vasodilator. And this vasodilator helps increases your blood circulation and oxygen production, which relaxes your muscles, which helps curbs inflammation and increase circulation. So hence the reason why they both are linked, right? With nitric oxide and Alzheimer's disease. So interestingly, as we age, our nitric oxide levels decrease. When plaque builds up in our arteries, it reduces our capacity to produce nitric oxide. So in our 20s, we have 100% of nitric oxide. In our 30s, 80% because our arteries start thickening. In our 40s, 50% because of plaque buildup. In our 50s, 35% of nitric oxide due to calcium buildup. And in our 60s, 15% of nitric oxide, which actually can cause us to get a heart attack. So this is very interesting to note that, because 60s is still young, right? And if we don't have sufficient nitric oxide, this can be the cause of heart attacks. So hence the reason we need to have L-arginine in our bodies to produce more nitric oxide. So I told you how we can get L-arginine from foods, right? Now I will talk to you about L-arginine complexer, which actually delivers more L-arginine into our system. So pro-arginine plus has been proven to rapidly and significantly increase nitric oxide levels in our body. Nitric oxide supports healthy circulatory and cardiovascular function by increasing, as I said before, the nitric levels in our body, right? So with pro-arginine, there is approximately 5,000 milligrams of L-arginine in the pro-arginine. On its own, L-arginine can only produce nitric oxide for a short period of time. Within 4 to 6 hours, the body will be back to its baseline levels of nitric oxide. Hence the reason there is need for another amino acid, which is L-citrulline. And this L-citrulline works to keep the production of nitric oxide up in our blood vessels, right? So in the pro-arginine complexer, there is both L-arginine and L-citrulline amino acids in there. So L-arginine has approximately 22 benefits, which includes enhancing memory, particularly long-term memory. It may be able to reverse the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. It's also good for penile health, and it aids in maintaining healthy blood pressure levels. It helps regulate insulin secretion, and it improves your immune function. So there are 22 benefits, and these are just some of the benefits of the pro-arginine. So I know for the pro-arginine, like in particular, I can speak to blood pressure levels and glucose levels. It maintains it, even without medication, it maintains it. I have my parents using it for blood pressure and blood sugar glucose, for blood sugar levels, and their levels are maintaining with just pro-arginine, right? So what pro-arginine is basically, it's in a sachet. It comes in a sachet. You use it in water. You use it twice through the day. You can drink it as a juice because it have a taste like juice. And you just have them twice through the day. You monitor your blood sugar levels, your blood pressure levels. but it is actually a good supplement. So it is proven to work for these 22 cases, including memory, right, with Alzheimer's. There's also another supplement called Memory Armor. And Memory Armor supports your brain health, and this is not for when we reach that age, probably some of us we wait when we reach, middle age to start taking stuff for memory. You can take this at an early age. So it's specially formulated with bacopa, right? And this is a plant used in traditional Indian medicine. It helps support short-term memory. Each capsule provides powerful benefits to achieve cognitive resilience as you age, and it promotes healthy age-related cognitive functions, right? So it supports short-term memory, auditory learning, attention. It has vitamin B6. It helps reduce fatigue, support short-term memory recall, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. And the interestingly to note that the bacopa, when I did some research, it helps reduce inflammation, right? So the inflammation, as we know, is our body's natural response to help heal and fight diseases, right? However, chronic low-level inflammation has linked to many chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes, heart disease, kidney diseases. So this bacopa actually can help reduce inflammation. It may boost, as we said before, boost our brain function. So there was a study that was done with mice, of course, right? So they showed that supplementing the bacopa with the mice, they were able to retain information, right? The same study also found that it also helps your nerve cells that are closely linked to memory and to learning. A 12-week study, which was done on humans for this one, in 46 healthy adults, observed that taking 300 milligrams of the bacopa improved the speed of processing visual information, learning rates, and memory compared with the placebo treatment. They also did a 12-week study in 60 older adults, and they found that by taking 300 milligram or even 600 milligram, it improved their memory, their attention, and their ability to process information. It may also help reduce attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So research has also shown a study in 31 children, and these children was aged 6 to 12 years. They found that taking 225 milligrams of the bacopa for 6 months, it reduced significantly the ADHD symptoms. It reduced their restlessness, their poor self-control, and inattention in at least 85% of the children, right? It also may prevent anxiety and stress. Now, research has shown that the bacopa helps reduce stress and anxiety by elevating your mood and reducing the levels of cortisol, and this is a hormone which is closely linked to stress levels. So there are various benefits from using the bacopa, which is found in the memory armor, right? Okay, so how can we actually help you? So there, I know we focus a lot on diet, right? Diet, because to me that was very, very important when I did the research. Because a lot of the things that we usually eat on a day-to-day basis, these are some of the things that actually are linked to Alzheimer's disease. So we do a 21-day challenge that actually helps with choosing healthy foods. In this 21-day challenge, we have a meal plan that actually tells you the healthy food that you should have, the meal options for your lunch, for your snacks, healthy options, as opposed to eating unhealthy stuff, right? And I think one of the things that stands out to me with the 21 day challenge is actually breaking bad or unhealthy eating habits. I have someone here on the next slide who will speak a little more to it, and then I would continue.
Hi everyone, I'd just like to share with you my journey ever since I started the 21 day challenge a few months ago. I was a bit hesitant to start because I was not physically able to exercise as much as I would like to. And I also work very long hours. So I get home very exhausted and late. And it's a struggle to get exercise into my routine. Nonetheless, I decided to join the challenge because I thought to myself, if I could focus on nutrition, then I must get some results out of it. I started off the challenge very shaky. I must say that I gradually got better following the plan day by day as I learned what my favorite foods were and how to substitute it into my diet. By the end of the first week, I was able to lose a little weight and I felt it, I started feeling my body changing, my waist shrunk a bit. By the second week, I was able to follow the plan a lot better. I became more aware of what I ate. Some days, I did go off track, but I wasn't too hard on myself, and my portion size had already reduced. So I wasn't even overeating the unhealthy stuff. When I did have something unhealthy, I wasn't even having much. So that played a major role as well. I tried to stay on track and always tried, to choose healthier option when I was not able to prepare my own food, which I think is very important. And I think with that, I created some healthy eating habits because I continued to shed the weight and I lost, a few more inches by the third week. And to be honest, I wasn't completely committed to weighing and measuring. My measurements were based solely on how I felt and how my clothes fit. And that was what was important to me. I kept going because I knew I wanted, to keep changing my habits and, adopt a healthier lifestyle that would have more lasting results because when I got past the 21 days, I continued to use the products and, that helped me stay on track. Even when I get busy, it would be my go-to snacks. I've continued to since then choose healthier food options. I'm more aware of what I put into my body, and that with that I've been able to maintain and keep the weight that I lost while I was on the challenge. I've been able to keep that weight off. So I hope my story helps somebody out there, and just focus on the long run, and do your best, and you will reap rewards.
Okay, so that was one of our clients from our 21 day fitness challenge, right? So in this challenge, as I said before, it's not 21 days to lose 20 pounds, lose 30 pounds, because we need to be realistic, right? Weight loss is something that is a benefit. It would come a benefit of eating healthy. So the 21 days, the focus is on mindset. The focus is on eating healthy meals, right? A lot of times, we know we are not eating healthy. We want some help, and this is where we come in a 21 day challenge, because we have one-on-one coaching. We have a support group that is added on to, and these are some of the benefits of having support, because sometimes we just need a little motivation. Some of us need guidance on what to eat exactly, when to eat it. And in this 21 day challenge, that's exactly what you get: a meal plan telling you when to eat, it's every 3 hours to eat, what snacks we can have, and I will give you a little rundown of what we use in the 21 day challenge, right? So we do 2 shakes a day, and this is 2 meal replacement shakes, right? This is not smoothies, it's not strictly a protein drink. It is meal replacement. So it's like a healthy meal in a shake form. We have that shake for breakfast and we have that shake for dinner. A lot of times in the list that was there for the risk for Alzheimer's disease, we eat those stuff for breakfast and dinner. A lot of times it's bread we eat, right? So to replace your bread, we swap your bread for a shake, and this is a healthy shake, right? We have 2 teas per day in the end. This tea, what it helps us do is help boost your metabolism and also help give increased energy. We have healthy snacks. You have a healthy snack twice. We have healthy snack twice per day. So your shake would last you approximately 2.5 hours to 3 hours max. It will hold you. So once you have 3 hours, you do your mid-morning snack. Your mid-morning snack. After that, you have 3 hours after you have your healthy meal. After your healthy meal, 3 hours after that, you have your healthy mid-afternoon snack. Then you have your dinner. If you're a late sleeper, a lot of times I advise that you have 2 healthy snacks in the afternoon time, right? So basically, that's how um, the 21-day challenge in regard to the meal plan goes, right? Our 21-day challenge is actually powered by Herbalife Nutrition. That's the meal replacement shakes that we do use. The ideal breakfast. So we have our tea for breakfast along with our shake. So our tea is a natural energy booster. It burns fat, it reduces your appetite. It's a natural antioxidant and detox. A lot of clients like it because of the detox. So if you're not accustomed getting a regular bowel movement, when you have your tea with your aloe, because the tea and the aloe goes together, you would go to the bathroom. It's not diarrhea, it's just a smooth flow, right? So your aloe, there are various flavors of the aloe. The aloe acts as a sweetener, so you don't have to put sugar in your tea, right? There's mandarin, mango, cranberry flavor. So it supports your internal cleansing and digestive health. It's anti-inflammatory and it soothes the digestive system. A lot of clients who told me they have that they suffer with acid reflux, once they have the aloe, they're fine. So our shake, which is our healthy drink mix shake, it has soy protein, it has 21 essential amino acids, it has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and herbs, and it's a healthy source of fiber and 200 calories to people who count calories for weight loss, right? So for the shake, how do we make it? We use 8 to 10 ounces of water, cold water that is, 4 ice cubes, 1 scoop of protein drink mix, because we do add protein in there. We need protein in our bodies when we are losing weight, because if we don't have sufficient protein, we would lose muscle. So we have 1 scoop of protein in there and 2 scoops of our Formula One, which is our healthy meal replacement. And we just blend it and that's it. And there's about 12 flavors of the healthy drink mix. Anything you can think about: cookies and cream, pumpkin spice, chocolate, cafe latte. So it's a lot of the clients are actually surprised of the taste of it. You know, some of them say it tastes like ice cream. So your tea, as I said before, it's anti-cancer because it has antioxidants. It's a fat burner. It improves your circulation. It detoxes your cell and it gives you increased energy. So especially, let's say you work nights, your tea will work for you then, right? There's something we also use called cellulose. Cellulose, we have it 3 times per day. Now, cellulose is to get rid of water weight and for bloating. So we have it after each meal. We have one after breakfast, one after lunch, and one after dinner. So this actually helps with getting rid of a lot of water weight. In your first week of using it, you would, most people lose about 5 pounds because it's the water weight that's going there, right? So cellulose works for bloating. We have clients who actually on cellulose alone because they don't want to lose weight, but they experience a lot of bloating, so they use cellulose only, right? And these are the products that we use for our 21-day challenge. I always tell people it's 80% nutrition and 20% exercise when you want to lose weight. But remember, the 21-day challenge focuses on a healthy lifestyle. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So you would realize, like the client said, after 21 days, she continued because now it's easier for her to choose what she actually eats, right? It's a mindset that you develop after the 21 day. So somebody was mentioning to me that they went out, to eat, and they realized there was just unhealthy food, and she wasn't feeling bad at all about not having anything. And before, she couldn't go out and not eat those things. So it becomes easier for you once you adapt, and this is what we try to promote in the 21-day challenge, because your health is your wealth. At the end of the day, weight loss will come once you are eating right. Consistency is the key, right? So in regard to exercise, because research has also shown, as you heard before, that exercise plays an important role in decreasing our risk for Alzheimer's disease. We do a Pilates class, which helps strengthen your core, and it also helps drop your BMI levels and tone your waist. We do it on Zoom. So in the comfort of your own homes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. So we also do a Zoom class, Zoom Pilates, for people who are interested in just exercise. If you think, you are good with your nutrition, right? Although the both goes hand in hand. So my last slide is about prevention. So Dr. Deborah Blacker stated that the important lesson from the study, and this is a study for Alzheimer's, is that dietary intervention can change brain amyloid chemistry in largely consistent and apparently meaningful ways in short periods of time, right? So Dr. Deborah Blacker is the director of gerontology research. And people, if this is your time to ask me any questions, you can unmute your mic. But I always say we sacrifice our time now, to get monies, but sometimes we need to sacrifice in our health, right? Because our health is the most important thing. So you can unmute your mic if you have any questions at this point in time, or you can feel free to put it in the chat. I will see if, let me see if there are any questions. You can put it in the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions, or even comment.
Yes, Shirin, good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm from Trinidad. I would like to know if you all have a contact in Trinidad.
Yes, we have a contact in Trinidad. So just what I would want you to do for me is message me privately on the chat. Leave your number on the chat for me, and I will get in. Yeah, your leave your information on the chat for me. Yeah, you can do that like now. I'm looking at the chat right now. So I will get in contact with you. We do have the products in Trinidad that and I can get you started with it. The cellulose, however, is not in Trinidad presently. So the cellulose, if you're interested in the cellulose, this is for the 21-day challenge that we have to get that online. If you're speaking in regard to the pro-arginine and the memory armor,
yes.
We have the pro-arginine. We do bring in. I don't think I have any in stock right now. I think I think I have to double check, but we do bring it in Trinidad also. Just let me know on the chat, message me privately and tell me which product you're interested in, and I will get in contact with you.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
Very interesting session. I must say, 6 to 7, 1 hour. I feel so bad.
But I am happy to know that it was interesting. Um,
Mhm.
I think a lot of times when we are empowered with information is a matter of making informed decisions after that, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of times we take a lot of things for granted, and then it's too late. So I always say prevention is better than cure. If we can prevent something, then why not try? What would we lose now to try to prevent? Okay, guys. So if you don't have any more questions, let me see this and let me check on the chat. Right. So if we don't have any more questions, guys, then I will catch up with you next Sunday. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with on Sunday, but I usually have a session every Sunday at 6 p.m. So
Okay.
yes, every Sunday at 6 p.m. I so usually I get my topics by Wednesday, so I can let you know by Wednesday. Just leave your number on the chat
Perfect.
and I will let you know what we are speaking about on Sunday. You can follow us on Facebook at Destyne Fit, DESTYNE and Instagram. I usually post stuff there in regard to what we'll be touching on. So people, if you don't have any questions, that will be it for me until we meet next Sunday again. Thank you guys. Have a good afternoon. Take care.
To you. Thank